Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter what time of the day it is. I hope that it is a good one for you when you're watching this video. So you asked today, Facebook Jason, what are you gonna cook today? Today's a little bit different. Today is more of it's a history lesson of food, but it is also, I am going to cook, but I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna cheat to make it easier. And why am I making it easier? Because those of us who are parents, those of us who work full time, those of us that have so many things to do during the day, we need little cheats to help us out. But it's gonna pay off in the end because you'll completely understand why we're gonna cheat. So today we're going to make homemade pretzels. Well, homemade being in quotes because they're not really, because as you can see, we're going to use a can of pre-made pizza crust. This is just gonna make things easier. Yes, we can make the bread, we can do that whole thing. The real big issue is my bread hook for my stand mixer. It's gone, lost it somewhere. And my stand mixer's kind of on the fritz right now anyway. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use it with, like I said, the pre-made pizza crust here, and let's get into it. We're gonna start off by covering our countertop with parchment paper. And that's because we're going to lay down the pizza crust on here and cut it into the strips that we need. And now that it's down like this, we're gonna go ahead and open our pizza crust, which it never opens. Take it and just roll it out like this. You don't have to worry about stretching it, anything like that. The parchment paper is on the countertop, so it will not stick to the countertop. Because right now it's still cold, we just took it from the refrigerator. So with the pizza crust rolled out like this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave it, we're gonna cut it up a little bit into the strips that we need. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave it on the parchment paper so that it will proof. By proof, we're gonna basically kind of get it up closer to a room temperature. Just taking it from the refrigerator into making it is not going to give the right poofiness and the right fluffiness of these homemade soft pretzels that we're looking for. And now that we have our dough laid out on the countertop here, well, on the parchment paper on the countertop, what we're going to do is we're gonna cut it into strips. Because the reason for that is they can proof up. Warm dough works better than cold dough. From there, I'll show you the basics of rolling a homemade soft pretzel, how to bake it off, what we're gonna do with it. Just gonna be the simple ones. But at the end, you'll see through the magic of YouTube video, you'll see the many different kinds that I've made, of pretzels that I've made that you can use with your family. These are great for after school snacks, for a party. With the basics that we're gonna go over today, there's a couple little things that we can do. You can just do the basics, salted, no salt, cinnamon, sugar, things like that. But we're also gonna add other toppings to them. You're gonna see all the different opportunities that we have. And the good thing about this is you can make these pretzels for the kids when they get home from school, for like an afternoon snack. You can make them for a day at the beach, a day at the pool. We're gonna cut them while they're cold. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave them sitting here on the parchment paper. We're gonna cover them up, let them proof for probably 30 minutes or so, get them closer to room temperature because they're gonna be easier to roll.
A few moments later.
So right at this point, we're at the about 30 minutes or so that the dough has been rising. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of our parchment papers, some cooking spray, and we're going to spray the parchment paper. Now what that's going to do is that's going to prevent the pretzels from sticking onto the parchment paper. So now let's go into rolling the pretzel and a history of the pretzel. Now it's time to get ready to get rolling. Rolling, 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 rolling. Here are our strips of dough. And what we're going to do is we're gonna take one, we'll take this one, if they're all about the same. Lay it on the countertop and we're gonna roll it out. But what we're gonna do when we roll is kind of like, with our hands like this, we're gonna go out. So we're stretching the dough as we roll. Just like this. There we go. And it's probably, I don't know, maybe a little bit thicker than a pencil at this point. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do an easy twist like that. We're gonna make sure you pinch the toes. The toes are these little things down here where the pretzel meets. Those are the toes that you're going to wanna press down because when they come out of the oven, you're gonna grab them and you don't want those to fall off. Now, if you missed how to roll that pretzel, let's do it again, okay? Gonna push out, grab your two ends. Kind of, when you grab the two ends, you stretch it out a little bit. You do it quick, you can do it quick like that, and there you got your pretzel. But if you want to do it slower, you kind of hold them up this way, cross your ends, and then go down. So if you want to, so you'll hold them up this way, and you'll cross the two ends twice, and then you pinch your toes at the bottom. As you're looking at this pretzel, let's make it right side up so we can see things a little bit easier. There comes the history lesson. The history of a pretzel. So after this, you can go out anywhere you want to and tell people about the history of a pretzel, and it'll be very interesting to some people. Some people will find it very boring, who knows. But here comes the fun thing about the pretzel. Way back in the 1600s, there was a German monk, don't know his name, I don't think that's very important, who, their monastery ran an orphanage. So what he wanted to do is give a little reward to the kids when they would learn their Bible verses. But he had to make it something interesting, and he had to make it something that they would really want. You know, he took some scraps of dough that they had and kind of roll it out, like a little bit like this. And being a monk, being in a monastery, he had to make it a religious symbol in some way. So what he did is he took it, kind of folded it over, and he was thinking about it. He said, okay, well, if we fold it over like this, then this knot right here is almost the same as two hands folded in prayer. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So when he did that, then he looked and he's got a pretzel like this. He goes, okay, so now what else can we show the symbolization of a pretzel? Oh, get my toe back in there. Well, if you notice, a pretzel has 1, 2, 3 holes in it. And if you know anything about Christianity, religion, things like that, what's the Holy Trinity? You've got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So there, you've got the pretzel, you got your hands folded in prayer, you've got the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit all right there with it. So the word pretzel actually came from the word for little reward. So, which was called Pretziola. Now that we have our tray of pretzels right here, we've got 6 of them. Yeah, none of them, like I said, they don't have to be perfect, because if we have a perfect pretzel, then who knows? Maybe that means we're perfect, but we all know we're not. So we've got a bowl here with about 2.5 cups of hot water on the hotter side of warm. And then you're gonna add some baking soda in there, about 1/3 of a cup. And you're gonna stir it. Now what the baking soda is for, the baking soda is actually going to help brown the pretzels as well as give them a little bit of crisp. Get our pan right here. You're gonna grab the pretzel by the toes. Dip it in there. Kind of shake it a minute, and then you're going to put it on your tray. Ideally, you would like the official pretzel salt to go on there, but I've got some coarse grained table salt, so it's a little bit bigger. Oops. Just add as much salt or as little as you want. We're gonna leave these two unsalted for right now, because we got surprises for them. So while your pretzels are in the oven, this is why I always said it was important to make sure the toes are on there. So what we're gonna do when it comes out, we're gonna take the pretzels, we're gonna dip them in the butter. Real healthy stuff, you know, nothing but bread and butter. It's good healthy stuff for you. So we're gonna dip it in the butter, kind of let it drain out a little bit, and they're gonna be good to go, ready, hot, fresh, homemade pretzels. Now that our timer's gone off, let's pull the pretzels from the oven. Get a nice golden brown color on them. Take our tongs. Grab them here in the middle. There you can see the tongs. Dip them in the butter. And then we lay them out on our baking rack over here, or drying rack, cooling rack, whatever you want to call it. A little bit of butter. So I think we had 4 with salt and 2 with no salt, something around there. Get the nice good butter juices in there. So there we got there. Now, let's make some sweet ones, because we know we all have that one family member that's got a sweet tooth. So dip both sides in the butter. Kind of let it drip off a little bit. Grab our cinnamon sugar. Put the pretzel in there, shake it around, flip it around. Get both sides covered. Cinnamon sugar pretzel. So you're never ever gonna have a pretzel as good as when they come straight from the oven. After you dip it in butter, let it sit for a little bit being like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that. Just so the butter can drain off a little bit and soak in. Look at this, you got a nice little crispy, crunchy on the back. Definitely 10 out of 10. The only thing that could make this better, like I said, would be the regular pretzel salt instead of the table salt. But nonetheless, 10 out of 10, would recommend. I'm gonna show you some other things that you can do, just a little bit extras. You can take, if you don't wanna roll all the pretzels, that's not a problem. Take the dough that you have left over, your handy dandy pizza cutter, and just cut them into little smaller bits and pieces. Little pretzel bites, that's all these are. Here's another little thing you can do to add on to it. Get it, you don't have to roll it out too much. Take a hot dog, uncooked hot dogs. What we're going to do is we're then going to roll the pretzel or the dough around the hot dog. You want to keep it tight next to each other, so you don't want too many gaps in there. Roll that. Kind of roll that to the end. Any extras you have, just break that off. There you go, you'll have a pretzel dog here in a little bit. Take your hot dog, just wrap it around here. Kind of like so it'll look like a hot dog mummy type thing. Oh. There we go. Here's something interesting we're going to do with this last one here. Roll it out. Get your little pretzel in here. And when we go to do this one, we're going to top this one with some pepperonis and some Parmesan cheese and bake it off that way. So it's going to be like a pizza pretzel. I'm just going to use the same pan that we did the same sheet, everything else. Stir our water and baking soda up a little bit. Make sure that's good to go. Spray our pan. Get our hot dogs. Dip those in. Yep, you're gonna dip them just the same way. And then for this pretzel, we're gonna add some pepperonis onto it. You know, 4, 5, 6, something like that, whatever you like. It's your pretzel. I feel like Bob Ross right now. Make a happy little pretzel here. And we'll got some extra ones, we'll put them on that hot dog. This tray all ready to go into the oven. In there 425 for about 13 minutes. And just let them go. Now that the timer has gone off on the other ones, let's pull those out. Woohoo, look at this, look at this. In the same fashion, you'll do the same things. You'll pick the pretzels up. Uh-oh, all my pepperoni fell off. Do a little butter action there. And I have lost every single piece of my pepperoni. That's okay, because you know what? They go back on. Do the hot dogs the same way. Get those all nice and buttery. Look how golden brown they come out when you put that little goodness gracious little patch of butter on there. Let's try a cinnamon sugar one. They get a little bit of a crunch. They're not like soft like a donut or anything like that. They got a little bit of a crunch to them, so you definitely know that they're a pretzel. But good times can be had with the whole family with these. So in summary, now that the pretzels are made, they're buttered, they're ready to go. Invite your friends, invite your family, get everybody over here. They are better when they're warm. The longer they sit, they do tend to dry out a little bit and get a little bit harder. So definitely if you can eat them while they're hot, 10 out of 10, bar none. But take this opportunity to, if you make these pretzels or when you make these pretzels, add different toppings to them. Once they're dipped, you can sprinkle the everything bagel seasoning on top of it, or you can add anything you want. It's really, that's a blank canvas. You know, like Bob Ross talks about happy little trees. We have happy little pepperonis on these. But what it really comes down to with these pretzels, with anything that I make, anything that video that we do, this whole channel, it's all about making memories. And it's making memories with those that you love. Whether they're friends, whether they're family, doesn't matter. Take the time to show you appreciate them, make something for them, spend time with them. Life is too short, so we need to make sure we take care of those moments that we have.